Hey guys, what's up? My name's Vic Taylor and welcome to episode 45 of my Request Anything in Black Ops series. Today we are going to be doing Tribalicious' loadout, which is a bit of a tongue twister, I'm not going to lie. I have trouble pronouncing words in my own language, and I'm kind of fucked because I'm terrible at every other language, but you'll be able to see his name spelt in the top right hand corner, so don't worry about my pronunciation, please. But this request is the Enfield with extended mags, flak jacket, steady aim and marathon. I currently have all of those perks pro, but at the time of playing this game I did not have marathon pro because at that point I had not discovered the bare bones competitive playlist. If you haven't discovered that, because it's in bare bones, it's not the first thing that anyone goes to, you should definitely check it out. You probably will require an organised team because the people in there are either really shit or really good. There's no in between, there's no middle ground. You either run into people going solo and they get their ass kicked, or you run into a full or nearly full team of pros and you get your ass kicked. So it's a bit of give and take, but if you have an organised team, if you're good, then head into that playlist and it's really, really fun. 4v4 makes it a lot more tactical because you don't have people just diving on a flag, 3 at a time, or, you have to spread out, you have to talk to your teammates, and I enjoy that part of Black Ops and competitive gaming, I really do. Tactics and talking and generally being annoying as possible. That's what I try. And for this game, I believe I end up 24 and 12. No, 42 and 12. I don't know what I'm saying. I mixed up my numbers. I end 42 and 12 because 24 and 12 isn't a good enough gameplay. I don't know what I said there, but I really enjoyed playing it and I do hope you enjoy watching it. For what I'm going to be talking about today, stupid and or foolhardy things that I've done in my life. Not all through my own fault, or, probably they're all, yes, through my own fault, but, you can pretend and believe, can't you? So, these will probably all make you laugh at me and wonder how the fuck I've managed to survive as long as I have, but to get started, we go back to when I was around 11. Primary school. The school in England, and probably most of Europe, I don't know, but when you're from 4 years old to 11, you go to this school, you get taught all manner of shit things about how to survive and how to kill and eat rats. I don't know where that came from. But the oldest kids, the ones, that was a quad right there. That was a quad, Vic. What did I do? I'm always doing that. I round the corner, see a load of people, and absolutely fail. But I was about 11, and for the oldest kids, there is a big hill at the back of the school field, and that is the place where we can go and we alone can go. It's kind of like our special place. And I don't know why they gave it to us. I don't know. But it had lots of anthills on it. I'm pretty sure that a lot of the actual hill was made out of anthills. And for some strange reason, when we had all put our jumpers down to run around and everything, because it was quite hot, it was probably during the summer, we had just deposited them on the biggest anthill that you could ever have just wondered. I mean, when we came back, there were several jumpers that weren't there anymore because they'd been actually covered in ants. There were so many ants. And we were thinking, oh shit, well, we can't do anything about this. We're not doing anything about this. We are not going to risk getting bitten because these were red ants. They are the kind that bite, they are the kind that leave quite horrible marks, so we weren't going near them. And me, in my infinitely 11-year-old wisdom, decided to grab a corner of one of the jumpers and pull. And the explosion that happened from that was quite unpleasant, actually. It was like a wave of ants. I used this term a little while ago for spiders coming out of a spider egg, but there's like a wave of these small pincer-like creatures just shooting in all directions. And we, being very brave 11-year-olds, just screamed and ran down the hill and left the adults to deal with it, which I'm sure was a very fun job for whoever they called. But I don't know why I remember that, but it's just been stuck in my mind because no one actually blamed me, because when you're 11 you don't really blame anyone. But several kids got bitten and I don't know, I feel guilty about something that I did when I was 11. And I don't know why I did it, I don't know what was going through my tiny, insignificant little mind, but I thought it would be a brilliant idea to pull one of the jumpers that were making up the beds of the ants. It would have been a brilliant idea. Moving on to something also that happened when I was 11 and at the school. We used to play catch at lunchtimes, break times, with tennis balls. And one time, I don't know why, but we were throwing it up in the air to see how high we could get it. I was always shit at catch in my primary school. I don't know why I couldn't figure it out, but, I became a goalkeeper later on, so there must have been something there. But I threw it up, and I was underneath one of the trees. And the ball, being a decidedly evil ball, decided that it would stick in one of the tree branches. I'm not sure how, because it was kind of balanced. And I know it was kind of balanced because I actually climbed the tree to get it. Because being 11, we were all pretty protective of our tennis balls, and I'm sure there's a euphemism in there somewhere. And that guy needs to stop camping, and I got him with my nade. I hate people who camp there, I really do. They're so hard to get out. And I climbed the tree, and this must have been about 60 feet. This wasn't a small tree, and we weren't even allowed to climb the trees. This was a serious tree that was getting work done, and it did not want to be disturbed. So I climbed right up, and if you ever climbed a tree or even looked at a tree, you will know that the branches get thinner the higher up you get. So me, being the brilliant, bright person that I am, climbed right up to the top and almost fell off. And don't worry, I'm going through these stories and I'm leading up to the one where I get seriously injured. Well, seriously, it's kind of a stretch, but I didn't fall, thankfully. I almost fall, but the main thing is that we got the tennis ball back. The tennis ball was safe. It was not going to be stolen by the tree. And for my next trick, or my next story rather, I'm going to get onto the big fry, the stuff that actually left me injured. I'm sure you've all been waiting for that with trepidation. Every time I go down to Cornwall, which is a little part of the southern England kind of space, it's down there, it's southern, and I go there on holiday about once a year, maybe twice, I always go to this quad biking track. I've been into quad biking for a long time now, and if you don't know what that is, it's basically a mix between a motorbike and a car. It's got 4 wheels, it's kind of like a bike, like a dune buggy, but better. I'm sure you can all, see that. And I'll have a picture up the top in the right-hand corner of the screen right now. And I always used to go onto this same track, the expert track, because I was quite good at it. I'd been doing it for a very long time. And I always had real fun. There were jumps, there were pits, there were tight corners. There was one corner I always hated because it was so fucking tight that I always thought that I'd go into the tyres that were lining the side so that you didn't go into the grass or the hedgerows or whatever. But there was one specific jump that I always went really fast on because it made you go really high. And technically you're not meant to leave the ground, but there weren't actually anyone watching the expert track because to be on the expert track you had to have a proper certificate and everything. So we were relied upon to police ourselves, which is a little bit silly to be perfectly honest. But I'd never had any problems on the track before. I'd had a couple of bobs and dips, but this particular jump had never been a problem for me, so I thought, well, they're just talking about nothing. They don't know what they're saying. There is no problems with this track at all. And I went over this jump very fast one time. More faster. That's brilliant grammar, and I'm stumbling over my words. Let us take a moment to calm down. Right, I am calm. But I went over this very fast one time, and it ended up my bike going kind of diagonal in the air. If you imagine the bike taking off perfectly normally, one set of my wheels, I believe my right wheels, turned at a slight angle to face horizontally down towards the ground. And therefore when I came down onto the ground, I landed on 2 wheels. Now this isn't a motorbike, so you couldn't handle it on 2 wheels. So what ended up happening was my momentum and the weight of the quad bike carried me over. And thankfully I'd moved my leg. I wasn't sure what was going through my mind at this point. You don't ever remember what is actually going through your mind when you're having this kind of accident experience whole thing. But I'd moved my right leg, so when I'm keep wanting to say dune buggy. I don't know why. I should not have got that in my head. But when the quad bike came down, it didn't come down onto my leg. It just came down onto the earth. The jolt, because you weren't strapped in on these things, they were just like normal bikes. The jolt sent me free, and I'm not sure what happened to the quad bike. I think it ended up just on its back or whatever. But I was flung over the tyres that were there to stop people driving into the hedgerows and the bushes. I was flung over the tyres and into the hedgerow, which I thought was a little bit pointless, because if the tyres aren't built high enough, I got to the hedgerow. I wanted to get to the fucking hedgerow. Nothing was going to fucking stop me, is what I'm trying to say. But I got thrown into the hedgerow kind of upside down, because you get thrown off a bike by the forward momentum. You kind of go over the handlebars most of the time. I've had a couple of crashes and near misses with my actual bicycle, which weren't nearly as bad. And I got thrown over head first, and I ended up scraping a deep sliver of skin out of my right arm, and it kind of looked like I'd taken a butcher's knife to it, which was very cool. And it didn't scar, which sucks. It really does. I like my scars, but probably seeing the size of it, it was probably good that it didn't scar. Apart from that, I had several bruises, and quite importantly, I broke several fingers of my left hand. And it's always seemed to be the left. I'm right handed, so of course I had to, go back to school and everything, and I had to write. It's never the actual hand that you write with. It's like sod's law. It's karma. It's terrible. But that was my story. It was my cool story bro moment of the day, and I broke several fingers of my left hand. So I do hope you enjoyed this gameplay. It's run over a little bit, so I'll probably have put a couple of clips in for you to just stare at mindlessly. And I guess I will see you guys either later today or tomorrow. Peace.